welcome to the first episode of Medieval Dynasty. The game is in full release now, and we are going to start brand new, but first I'm going to give you a little bit of a tour of my original village. As you can see, I got to year 15, so I got pretty far in the game. I absolutely love it. But they did add a lot of changes and a lot of updates. But we are going to start a new game. I just kind of wanted to reminisce with my original village here and show you what you can do in this game. If you have played Medieval Dynasty before in the past, and maybe didn't continue because there was something you didn't like about it, I highly suggest giving it another shot because they have done so many things with this game. So a lot of those little things that might be irritating, they've changed, they've made things easier. Recruiting people is a little bit easier. It's a lot more balanced. They've added new buildings, taken away some buildings. But yeah, this is my farm. I have a lot of sheep, and the sheep will give you wool, which you can craft into different clothing items. We have a lot of farm animals. We got some goose and gander, some more sheep, roosters, chickens, pigs. We have some goats, and of course some horses and donkeys, and yeah, we've got a full farm here. But anyway, if you play this game and you get this far in it where you actually have farm animals and a whole setup here, it's just so satisfying. Just the details they put into this game is just so amazing. Like, the animals don't just like go out of their pen and just sit there and do nothing. Like, they actually move around, they frolic and they play. They eat the grass, they chase each other. They just do silly things. It's like you could just sit here and watch them, and it's so fun. And this is another feature. This is the Woodshed, which hasn't changed, except for the fact that they actually have like animations now for the loggers to like craft things, like make planks and stuff. Basically all they do is collect wood, logs, firewood, and planks. So when I got the animals, I only got one male and one female, and I got them as babies. And so they grew up and they mated and they had babies, and now we just have like a ton of animals. So we have a hen house, a cow shed, a fold, pigsty, goose house, stable, and apiaries for the bees. And we get honey from that. But you can see how many like chickens and roosters we have, quite a few. And I only started with a male and a female as a baby, and this is how many they've reproduced to. And we've also got cows. The cows give you milk, so we're getting buckets of milk from that. I've got the fold, which has the sheep and the rams and the goats. Again, I only started with two, just a male and a female. The pigs reproduce pretty quickly, but you only can have five at a time, so of course we have 5. And you can choose to sell them. I think once it goes over the 5, like, it automatically just gets rid of one of them. But the things that the pigs do is give you manure, which you need for fertilizer, and believe me, they produce a lot of manure. You will never have to buy manure or fertilizer again if you have pigs. Like, they produce so much. I actually have to sell some of it because I think I have like over 2,000 manure. And then the goose house, they just give you eggs and feathers, and we've got quite a few. And the funny thing is with the goose, they didn't start breeding until they were like 6 years old. I just had the two the entire time, and I was wondering if they would ever like reproduce or lay eggs. And finally, after the 6th year, all of a sudden we have all of these, like just out of nowhere. So they waited 6 years to breed, and then they just had a crap load of little goslings. So that was pretty cool. But that gives you eggs and feathers. The stable, of course, we have our horses. I have 2 females and a stallion and a donkey. Yeah, the hen house, they give you eggs also and feathers. And of course the apiary. That's the bees, they give you honeycomb. And so yeah, we've got a lot of buildings, a lot of people. These are all our villagers. I have a lot of them. I only have one that's a mother right now. But I'm assuming these 2 are going to get married and have kids soon. That is my youngest couple right there. And I need to find a female for this guy, but I'm kind of locked right now with my population. I have to get my dynasty reputation up to 16,000 to recruit another villager. So they really balanced it, especially in the late game. You can't just keep recruiting people and, you know, making more buildings. It kind of limits you to have to get your dynasty reputation up before you can get more villagers and build more buildings, which is good, because if you went over the amount, you're going to have a bad time because you're probably not prepared for that many. Remember, you have to feed them all, you have to have water for them all, houses, jobs, everything. So it limits you, because if you go over, you're really going to hurt yourself if you can't handle it all. And then we've got our rabbit traps here. You can make rabbit traps, rat traps, bird traps. I had all of them, but I just got rid of them and kept the rabbit traps because I don't need extra meat at all because I have hunters getting the meat. But it actually does help you level up the hunting experience by having the traps. So this is one of the new buildings. This is the well, and your people will need water now. So you have to build a well pretty early in game. But the good thing with it is it does give you the opportunity to kind of build anywhere you want now. Whereas before you really had to build right next to water, either a lake or a stream. And now you're not so limited. You can build anywhere. You can build all the way out in the middle of nowhere that's not close to any water. As long as you have a well, your people will be able to get the water. But you have to make sure you get it early in game. The only thing you need the water for is if you want the fishing hut, which I have here. This is the fishing hut 2, and I had fishing hut 1 and 2, but I didn't have enough people to work at both, so I just demolished the first one and I kept the second one. But you can go fishing also, you know, just yourself. You don't have to have a fisherman. As you can see, little fishies out here. You just get yourself a fishing spear and you can go out into any lake and catch some fish, which is pretty neat. And that's what I love about this game, is everything in it you can do yourself. So even though it is a building city management game, a lot of it is automated once you get the villagers, you know, and you have them working in their jobs, except for this guy. He's not really doing much, but he actually is. He's just always standing right there, but he is our caretaker of the horses. But he stands on the other side of the wall, which is odd, but this is our horse and our donkey and our other horse. And then we have the black stallion there. But while it is automated, meaning the villagers you hire and you put them in specific jobs, they are going to go and do their jobs every day, but it still leaves room for you to have to do some things. So like right now we're on the last day of autumn, And the farmers may not get all of the work done before the end of the day, and if they don't, we kind of miss out because it's going to switch to the next season. So we're in autumn now, and it's going to switch to winter when I wake up in the morning. If these guys aren't finished with the farming by the end of the day, it's not going to be done. So we actually have to go in there and help them out sometimes and help them get the farming done, which of course is going to help level you up in that specific area, which is good because if your workers did all of the work efficiently and they got it all done, you would literally have nothing to do in this game. So while it is a city management game, they're not going to be doing all of the work. They're not going to work as efficient as you could. So if I go and I pick some cabbage and I pick a whole field of it, you know, I could probably do it in like 2 minutes, whereas they're going to take like an hour to do the same job, which, you know, in game could be half a day or a full day. So you still have to get in there and you still have to do the work. You also have to check on the status of everything. They run out of tools that they need. You may have to craft some tools for them. They may not get their work done efficiently in a day, so, you know, if you run out of tools and you need some axes or some knives, you're going to have to go over to the smithy and craft them yourself, because if your hunters run out of knives, these guys may only produce one, you know, and if you need it now, you're going to have to craft it yourself. So it does allow you to do a lot of the crafting. And even the cooking, you're going to have to do some cooking. Like, every building that you have in your village, the sewing hut, the smithy, the workshop, the barn, you're going to have to do some of the work in there yourself. So I like that part of it, that it's not just fully automated and everything is so efficient that you just stand around watching them. Although that is fun, I do occasionally just sit here and, you know, watch the people work and see what they actually do. The animations for them are pretty neat to sit and watch, but you're going to have to do a lot of the work yourself at the same time, which is good because you need to level up those skills. So everything that you craft, everything that you make, everything you pick up off the ground, every tree you chop, it's all going towards the experience that you need to unlock technology. Like here, you have to unlock all of this technology to open up new buildings. And while your people do contribute to the experience gained towards the technology, it's not going to be enough by itself. You do gain a lot more experience in technology points by doing stuff yourself. So just to give you an idea of what it looks like, kind of, you know, I would call this mid-game because it's only year 15. And I do have a wife, I do have a son, and my son is 10 years old, I believe. Let me see. My son is 10 years old. So once I die, my dynasty is going to be passed on to him, and I will actually take over his character and continue the dynasty on, which is the whole point of the game. So once I reach a ripe old age of, say, 60-ish, because back then in medieval times, you know, people didn't live as long as they do today. So you may only live to, 50, 60, 70, and you need to have an heir to take over your dynasty. So that's the whole purpose of getting a wife. This is our wife here. And having a child, you want to do that pretty early on in the game because you're going to be taking over the character of your son, who is your heir, and you'll be continuing the dynasty on. So it's pretty cool. It's a really well thought out game, you know. But yeah, so this is my village, and I did build here just south of Denica, which is a lovely area. I love it with all pine trees, and it's kind of in the woods. It's a beautiful area. Granted, it is a little bit far from some of these villages that we have to go to, but it's not that bad. And it's pretty central, and I've been debating on building here again because I really love this location. But at the same time, I want to try something new out and kind of have a different, scenery. And I can't decide on where I want to build. My first thought was over here, but it's like everybody builds over here. Plus, there isn't a whole lot of trees until you get into this area, which is actually a really big hunting area. So, we could build up here, but then we have to run all the way over here to get the trees. There's also a really nice area down here near Lesnica, but it is pretty far away from everything. There's a great area up here behind Branica that is full of maple trees, and it's really forested. It's a really nice area too, but then you're really, really far from these villages down here, and you do have to go to Hornica quite often. So we could do something central, but I haven't really found an area that I really love. There was a place down here that I really liked, that's flat, and it's right next to the river. But then again, you're sacrificing, the distance you have to go. So I don't know. I'm thinking building this area again, maybe just a little bit further south, like in this area. Over here is another option. This is where the mine is at, and we have a mine built in there. So I don't want to be too far from a mine either. There is a mine up here also. So there's lots and lots of options and places to build. So we have to figure that out where we want to go to. But yeah, we're starting to get near the end of the day here in autumn. This is our tavern. This is where you make beer and wine and mead. So they separated the tavern from the kitchen now. The tavern used to be where you would make all the food, and now they have a kitchen for that. So the tavern is strictly drinks now. So you can make your wine, you have a juice press, a brewing station to make beer. Then we kind of have our town center here. I put a fire pit there, so people will come here at the end of the day, at the end of their work shift, and just kind of hang around by the campfire, which is pretty cool. But I do want to make the town center a little bit bigger on my next one. And then over here is the new building that is the kitchen, which is kind of small. I was hoping they would make the kitchen like as big as a tavern and kind of have it as like a central point for the town. But yeah, this is it. You can make your bread in here in the oven. You have a cauldron to make your stews and soups. You have your grill for your meat. There's just tons and tons of recipes. You can make different foods. So this is a Herbalist Hut, and it is a small building as well. But this is where they make all the herbs and the potions that you need. And before, the only way to heal up was by eating broadleaf plantains. Well, you can still use those. You can still pick those on the ground and use them to heal yourself, but they're only going to increase your health by 2, so you need to eat a lot of them to heal up. But with the Herbalist Hut, you can make healing potions that will either instantly heal you or give you a good amount of health at once. Because just the broadleaf plantains by themselves, they're not going to heal you up very much. So that's another change I made. And then we have our stalls here where people can sell resources. So we've got a food store, resources, tools, weapons. So everything that we make and clothes we can sell. And that brings in a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money. Once you unlock these little shops here, definitely build them. Then you don't have to go running from town to town to like sell your stuff. You pretty much put for sale what you want in these, and it's kind of like a passive income. People will buy the resources, whatever you're selling, and then the coins just go straight into your resource storage. Down here, coins, we've got 7,298 coins in there. That's just from selling items at the shops there, at the little market stalls. So it's a great way to have income without having to run all over the map selling everything. So definitely worth it. And like I said, I'm pretty far into the game right now. Money isn't a problem. I have 63,000 coins on me, plus another 7,300 coins in here. I'm not hurting for money at all, and I really don't have to go around selling anything unless it's just to get rid of some extra inventory that I don't have room for. But it is really fun once you get far into the game. And like I said, this is only like maybe midway. I mean, I've probably got another 10 years before I would even take over my heir. So I would call this mid-game. And we have like 53 buildings right now. Of course, a lot of them are houses. We have a lot of villagers. We have 70 people, that's including children. We have 39 workers. So yeah, it's a pretty full town. And what's cool is you can do each house different if you want. Like this one we did like a wood log cabin, and these ones we did stone, and then we upgraded them with some limestone to make them more insulated. And the more insulated they are, the less firewood they're going to need to use. Even the log buildings you can upgrade and put daub on there to insulate it better. And this little boy is going to sleep right on the ground. Okay. But it's really interesting. You can talk to your people. They added a lot more dialogue options, and they actually added voice acting just for the initial hello and goodbye, but still it's pretty interesting. So
how is life treating you?
They'll actually talk to you now and greet you, and you can ask them questions. You can ask them where to find things on the map. You can do small talk. They'll play little puzzle games with you.
Goodbye.
So it's a lot more in depth, which is really nice. You know, they're not just these static people that walk around your village all day that you can't interact with. So it's pretty cool. And then we have our orchard here. This is where all our plum, apple, pears. We have some hop over here to make beer and mead. So it looks like they got all the cabbage picked. Let's see if they finished their work. This is something I do at the end of every season because I want to make sure all the farming is done before the start of the next season. So if we click on here, so they've got all of the wheat planted. All the rye is planted. Yeah. So we're in autumn, so the only things we can plant in the autumn is wheat and rye. And looks like they got all of it done, which is great, so I don't have to do any of that. Although I did pick some cabbage earlier just to kind of speed things up, so I got to put that away. And then, so winter will be coming on the next day, and the only thing we can plant in the winter is carrots, so these are all set up under carrots, so they will be planting those. So yeah, they're pretty efficient. I think I only have like 4 farmers right now, and I have like 30 fields, and they usually get it all done. The only one is in the spring where you pretty much use all of your fields in the spring because that's where you can plant the most items is in the spring, and sometimes I need a little bit help finishing that. But I have it on 4-day seasons, which I think is good. 3 days is just not long enough, especially with the farming. You usually can't get it all done and planted in 3-day seasons, so I did make it 4. And it seems to work well, because even though I have to help them out occasionally, I don't mind that because I get experience for that. It helps me level up. And it's not too tedious. There's not a whole lot I have to do. And you can light this campfire at night. People are just kind of hanging out at the tavern. But they will sit out here on the benches in the mornings and after their work shift. They'll hang out in the tavern. We have a watch guard that walks around with a torch and keeps an eye on the village at night. And they did add bandits into the game now, which I'm super excited about, and I've ran into about 6 different bandit camps. And I have to say they actually are a little bit tough, and I'm kind of worried about that in the new game because early on you're not going to have a good bow, you're not going to have great weapons, and they are a little bit tough to kill, and they come after you. But we'll see. I think they do give you like the first 2 years before the bandits will actually spawn on the map. And I've seen various ones. Most of them only have 3 bandits, but I did run into one that had like 6 of them in there, and that was a tough one. But if you kill them, you can loot their bodies, you can loot their camp, and let me tell you, there is amazing stuff in the bandit camps. You will not need to go and buy anything in this game. If you just run around, you'll find crates, you'll find various stuff, carts that are crashed and knocked over, you'll find buckets on the ground. Literally just running around the map, you'll find everything that you need. I mean, there's seeds, there's fertilizer, there's food, there's weapons, there's tools. Pretty much everything you need in the game is out there on the map, like without having to buy it. It's just a matter of running around and exploring, so that is pretty cool. And our torch broke. Let's see if I'm sure we have another one. So yeah. So they end their day at 6 p.m. and then they'll just kind of hang out. Sometimes they'll hang out outside all night, sometimes they'll go to bed. It varies, you know, it's very diverse. Like, they don't do the same thing all the time. You know, sometimes there'll be, 10 people in the tavern at night, and sometimes there's only 1. Sometimes they'll hang out and talk, and sometimes they'll go to bed early. So it's always something new. It's never the same, which is what I love about this game. They all have like their own, kind of personality, and it's always changing, so you never know what somebody's gonna do. So it's pretty cool. So let me think. If I have shown you everything here, this is our workshop. Yep, this is our workshop 2. And I know our resource storage is getting pretty full, so they've been storing stuff in the chests here. So we've got a lot of stuff in there. We're kind of producing too much at the moment that our resource storage is kind of overflowing. So any overflow they just store in their boxes in the workstation. So we've got a lot of stuff in here that they're storing. And this is another new building. This is a building hut, and you can actually hire a builder now. So every season, when the season changes, like your buildings will get damaged, and you'll have to run around and repair them. So you'll need like straw for the roofs, and sticks and logs and planks, and you'll have to repair the walls and the roofs. But now they have a builder, so you can build this hut, this builder's hut, and you can hire a builder, and then you can assign them to go around and repair all the buildings. So you don't even have to do that anymore. So if you thought that this was a grindy game, you didn't like having to do all this extra stuff, well, there you go. You have NPCs to do everything for you now. And don't complain that, you know, it's too tedious, because yes, you are going to have to get out there and you're going to have to work. And you're going to have to run around and do quests for people, and you're going to have to farm in your own farms, and you're going to have to create weapons in your smithy, and you're going to have to sew clothes, because your people are not going to be 100% efficient for a reason, because you need the skills to level those things up. And the game is designed that way, because if you just stood here and did nothing, you would never increase your skills, right? So yes, there is a grind to that game, but I think it's a good, fair balance between having your workers and having to do work yourself, because I think it would get pretty boring if you didn't have to do any of the work. And I actually love going out there and farming. I love, you know, crafting stuff and cooking things, and to me, that makes the game fun. So you may stay in your village for, you know, a whole season or a couple days, just, you know, crafting stuff and getting everything you need, and then the next season you want to run around and just do quests the whole time. You know, you play it how you want to, so that's what I love about this game. And so this is it. This is my beautiful village, and there's my watch guard keeping an eye on everything. And so we're gonna go and sleep for the night, and when we wake up it's gonna be winter, and we're gonna have to put our winter clothes on, because there is temperature in this game, and if you are too cold you will freeze to death. So you gotta have the right clothing for summer and for winter. So, you know, it is a survival game, and my son keeps taking my bed. And he has a quest because he wants me to take him hunting, but it's not something I feel like doing right now. So yes, my water and my food is gone and I'm losing health, but that's okay, because we're going to be starting a new season when I wake up. And when you sleep you heal up, and at the beginning of a new season, all your stats are 100%. So I don't think it'll let me sleep in this bed. This is like one bug that's been going on, where normally you can sleep in any of the beds in your house, but it hasn't been letting me sleep in this one, and my son keeps taking my side of the bed, so I don't know what's going on with that. But it could be because this is the village I had before they released the full game and made all those changes and updates. So there's a few things that are buggy because, you know, I didn't back up my save. So this is my original village when I started the game, and everything kind of changed and got a little bit messed up when they did the update. So there's a few things that, you know, aren't working exactly right, but I knew that would happen because this was an old save, which is why we're going to be starting a new season in a new village. We're going to start completely over, brand new, and I'm excited. I really want to like do this through and start from the beginning, because all the quest lines have changed, the storylines have changed. We're going to have a great time with the full release, and we're going to have to start all over from scratch and get married and have kids and start a village again. So that's going to be exciting.
Hello
Hi,
there.
wifey. Alright, so her affection is still 100%. I don't have to give her any gifts, which is something you can do now. If you want to keep your affection up with your wife, you can buy her gifts. But she's pretty happy. She stays happy for a couple years before I have to go and buy her something. She can no longer heal you. Your wife used to be able to heal you and reset all your talents, which is your skills that you earn points for, but your wife can no longer do that now because they added the Herbalist in there. So now you have potions where you can do all that stuff. But you can ask her questions. She'll tell you what's going on in the village, if the workers need certain things. You can have her go and pay the taxes, so you don't have to run all the way to Gustovia to pay your taxes. You just send your wife. If you do any quests for the king, you can have her notify, you know, the herald that, you know, the items are ready. So she does a lot of the work for you, which is nice, but she can't heal you anymore. But if you are hungry or thirsty, she will give you something to drink or some food to help you out. If you are injured, she will give you like a potion or something that'll help heal you, but it's not going to heal you completely. It's just a little something to kind of help you out. So if we ask her, how's our little kingdom doing? Some structures require fixing.
Have a good day.
I love her voice. I used to think she was so sweet and polite. Like, it's funny, before they added the voices in, you think about, you kind of make up people's own voices in your head on how they would sound. And I always imagined her as like having this soft, sweet voice because she was always so friendly. And when they added the voices in, I was truly shocked. Like, oh my gosh, my wife is like so mean. The way she talks to me is just like, you know, fine, have a good day. It just kind of threw me back because I always imagined her having this soft, sweet voice, but no, she doesn't. Alright, so we're going to take our fur boots, our fur hood, and our quilted vest for the winter. Let's change our clothes. We'll put this away. Put our boots away. And we've already got our thick leather gloves on. We have our pants. Let's equip that and a fur hood and fur boots, and then we'll put the other stuff in the box. So really you only have to change in the summer and the winter. The spring and the fall are pretty mild. It doesn't really matter what you wear during those times. Let's put our torch away. So every season we're going to have new quests, which we can see here. There's a quest up here, there's a quest over here. And then of course, all brand new quests in the villages that we can do. And we're not going to have to worry about repairing any of the buildings now because we do have a builder's hut and a builder that will do all that. And we have our wash tubs, which we can take a bath in if we're dirty. Because if you go into other villages and you try talking to people, or if you're in early game where you're trying to romance a woman and get a wife, if you go in there dirty, they're going to make a comment and they're not going to want to talk to you. So always take a bath before you want to go and romance somebody. Just a quick tip. So yeah, this is what it looks like in winter. And our field workers are out here planting carrots. So yeah, this is our little village, and I do love this area. I love the woods, being in the mountains, right next to the lake. It's really a beautiful spot. So I am tempted to build here again, but we'll see. So I think I'm gonna leave this here and we'll say goodbye to our old village and start a brand new life over. So I'll see you guys soon. So I kind of wanted to show you some possible locations of the bandits. So we're gonna run around and see if we can find some while we have our good weapons equipped. And the moose are new in the game also, though they aren't aggressive. So if you use your survivor sense, you can see they are green. Now I haven't tested killing the male moose, but the females definitely run away. Realistically, the males would just come after you and murder you pretty quickly in real life, but in the game they seem pretty passive. So let's try and find some bandit camps, because that is a really exciting new feature that they have now. So if you're walking along the trails or even out in the middle of the woods, you can find turned over carts like this. And this is the type of stuff you can find. So we've got some mead here. We have a fishing spear, which is really good. That's really hard to get until kind of later in the game when you can make those. And that's it for that cart. And if you run along the creeks and the rivers, oftentimes you'll find these barrels here. And if you open them up, we've already looted these last season, so they haven't respawned yet. But you'll find seeds, fertilizer, flour, even coins in some of them. So here also, got a couple of them. And these did respawn, so we've got some wheat grain, which is great early game. You don't have to go and buy your seeds. We've got flour. And then also, if you see these bare areas here, where there's clay, if you have a shovel, you can dig up the clay deposits. But oftentimes, you'll be able to find this, a shovel, and some clay that's right on the ground. So if you don't have a shovel, just go over to these clay deposits, and most times you will find a shovel. So if you don't have one, now you can shovel up the clay deposit, plus it gives you some on the ground also. And then here we have another overturned cart with some more clay and an iron shovel, which is a really good find because iron you can't get until kind of mid-game when you unlock the mine. So finding any iron tools is going to help you out immensely in the early game. And then we've got another turned over cart here. We've got some wool fabric, wool thread, some more wool, which is really great because that's kind of mid-game also. You're not going to be able to make wool until you get some sheep. So as you can see, there's resources scattered all over the map. You really shouldn't have to buy anything if you just go out exploring for a while, which doesn't help on that, but yeah. So even with a good recurve bow, they can kill you. So we'll just load up our save there. Luckily we saved for that. They're fast and they're deadly. So always F5. If you see a bear, just F5. Do a quick save. That way if you die, you can just go right back to where you were. So I don't know if I want to mess with him. Now that I know there's another bear up that way. They are super fast. This one is running away. He's probably going to change his mind and come after me. No? We might be able to get him. Best bet is to stand up high on a hill if you can. Kind of makes him hard to get to you. He's just running. Which is fine, because we have a better chance of killing him from a distance. And they will bleed out. As long as you do hit them, they will bleed out over time, although it takes quite a long time for the bears to bleed out because they do have a lot of hit points. Just try to stay up high. He's not a happy camper. He might come after me because I'm so close. I'm still up in the rocks, so here we go. If you're up in the rocks, it's your best bet to kill a bear, because they don't like to climb over things to get to you. And we did miss an arrow. It fell down there. But there is the cave, the other cave, so we are over here between Jezerica and Hornica, and I didn't even know that there was a cave right here, because our cave where we have the mine is up here. So this is another cave location, and we have a cart. Let's get our arrow, and we've got some salt, iron ore, which is really good, and a stone pickaxe, which is nice because now you have the pickaxe. You can just go right on into this cave, and you can get this copper. There's tin, copper, and you can also get salt in here. The only thing you can't get is iron, because you cannot get iron until you build a mine. So no bandits yet. Sometimes they're easy to find, they're all over the place, and other times they're really hard to find. They are usually like on the outskirts, like not right next to the road. I did find one that was next to the road. The rest of them were just kind of in the middle of nowhere. Okay, so I see a camp up ahead, but this is not an active bandit camp. This is an abandoned camp. So when you see these white tents here, it means it's an abandoned camp, but you can get some really good loot from it. Just be careful with the Wysent nearby, because they are very aggressive, and they are quicker than you are, so I don't recommend messing with them. So we can steal the firewood here. Sometimes there'll be items on their blankets here. Sometimes there'll be like a weapon or tools laying around. And then the barrels and the bags. So we've got a wine bottle here, a barrel with some broad in it. The sack has boots and a coverlet. Look at the price on this, 500. This is worth a lot of money. And this is a gift that you can give to a woman when you're flirting with them. I don't believe you can sell the coverlet, but I don't know, maybe it's possible. But it's something that you would like give to a woman when you're trying to court them and get them to marry you. We've got beer bottles, those can all be sold. And it looks like that might be it. But always look really closely, because sometimes stuff is just laying on the outside of the camp, or it's kind of hidden. You may have to crouch down. We've got clay bowls and a clay vial there, and all this can be sold for really good money. So it's kind of easier to spot the bandit camps at night, because they will always have a campfire going. Day or night, they'll have a campfire, so you can usually spot them from far away. It's just a little bit easier to see it at nighttime. We've got a boar over there. They are aggressive. Just don't get too close and they won't chase you. Lots of boar in this area. So this is where we're at, just north of Hornica. We're kind of on the outskirts of the lake. Now he's gonna chase me. A little bit too close. As long as you get a headshot, you'll be okay. But then again, I do have the recurve bow. Am I using the recurve bow? No. I'm using the longbow, which is still pretty good. It's kind of like the medium tier. But I am using iron arrows, I believe, yeah, which are pretty dang good. And we also have a crossbow. We also have a spiked cudgel, which I should probably equip just in case I come across a bandit, because they will get up right close to you. Oh! We've got another pig. There's pigs everywhere. They're all coming after me now. Whew, there we go. But as you see here, we've got another clay deposit. I hear them. They're kind of surrounding me. There he is. But we've got another clay deposit, and there's your another shovel, an iron shovel, and some free clay there. Got him. It's kind of a dangerous area up here. Just keep your head on a swivel. So we need to craft another knife. I didn't bring my good knives with me, which is okay. We can craft the stone ones. And then we'll try and get our good arrows back. We don't want to lose the iron arrows. So here's another random spot just up on this hill. We have a shovel and some stones. If you ever see this, grab it, because there's always a coin purse under here. And that right there gives you 200 coins. Okay, so we have spotted a bandit camp over here, and just to give you a glimpse of what they look like. They're pretty noticeable from a distance. So you will definitely see the campfire. Some of them will have these spikes around it. And you want to approach it kind of slowly. I know I did fight these guys before, but it is a new season, so it looks like they've respawned here. Now if I get too close, it will aggro them and they will start coming after me, or once I make my first shot. If I'm a really good shot at the bow, and I get far enough distance away, I can kind of take shots at them and try to pick them off before they actually realize that I'm here. See, it hit him, but I'm too far to actually aggro them. Sometimes you can pick them off if you keep your distance. So it kind of alerts them because the arrow is hidden over there. But you're not close enough where they're going to come run after you. So that guy's down. We already got one guy down before they even know that I'm here. We've got two more that we have to deal with. And now they know that I'm here. We're going to have to switch to a melee soon. Because once they get close, they will mess you up. And if you see a guy with a crossbow, see, I just went out of aggro range, so he sat back down. But if you see a guy with a crossbow pointed at you, just kind of run around and move around, because if he hits you, it will one-shot you. So he's got some onions and 10 roasted meat, which is great if you're out here and you're hungry. So it looks like we've just got this one guy left that we have to deal with. We can start taking, yep, he's got a bow. It's not a crossbow, but it's a bow. They will still do a lot of damage to you. So once you see him start aiming, yeah, see? Just try and move around. It will do damage. There we go, so we got him down. We took quite a bit of damage, but it wasn't bad. We didn't get killed. So I will steal his logs and the iron axe, all their firewood, and get my arrows back. And I've probably got a lot of arrows over here. And then we can loot him. Look at him, he's got an iron knife on him, a recurve bow, which would be excellent early game. 17 iron arrows, which you're not going to be able to make until mid-game. Apple, roasted meat, and some coins. So it's definitely worth hitting these bandit camps. And then we've got a torch over here. There's so much loot in these camps, like seriously, don't be afraid to go after them. Oat beer, cherry wine, we can sell all of that. It's gonna get you a good amount of coins. Take our arrows back. This guy's got some onions, more roasted meat, and 100 coins on him. So just to give you an idea of the resources that you can get in these camps. Yeah, they can be difficult to kill, but always make sure, like if you have a bow, make sure you have a melee weapon as well, because once they get up close to you, you're going to want to be able to hit them with something. So like a cudgel. Usually when you loot these guys, they'll drop like cudgels. So you've got these iron spike cudgels, which are great. So if you ever need to, just take those from them, and then you've got a melee weapon for up close combat. We've got a water skin here. Bronze arrows, so that was theirs that I'm stealing. And then the barrel's got some wheat grain in it. There's just so much stuff here. And just look really closely, look everywhere, because there's always stuff hidden around. Just make sure you grab it all. Check on their beds. Sometimes you'll find coin purses on their beds. And weapons just randomly laying around. Like if you find a good bow laying around, you're gonna be golden, because you can either sell it for a lot of money or you can keep it, which I would suggest. So there's an iron spiked cudgel. We'll loot him. We already looted him. Alright, let's get our iron arrow. But if you get a good bow early game, you're golden. You'll be able to protect yourself, fight other bandits with it, or if you really need the money, you can just sell it. So yeah, these are spread all over the map. Like I said, anywhere between 3 and 6 bandits I've seen in the camps. So keep your eye out for them. And keep your distance. If you have a bow, just stay back and try and shoot at them. If you can stay out of aggro range, you can pretty much get their health down to where you can easily kill them before they even see you.